several members of the jury started laughing and snickering in the face of one of Donald Trump's witnesses, one of the only witnesses put on by the defense at Donald Trump's criminal trial. That witness is the MAGA lawyer, Robert Costello, who Donald Trump's own lawyers did not want to call to the stand, but Donald Trump apparently forced his legal team to call Robert Costello because Robert Costello had been boasting that he was going to help Donald Trump. Costello tried to kind of worm his way into helping Donald Trump and Giuliani silence Michael Cohen back in 2016 and 2017. Yesterday, there was this whole scene in the courtroom where Costello started staring down the judge and behaving in a contemptuous manner such that the judge had to shut down the court. But today, right before the defense rested, and they rested with Costello as their witness, who was the worst, I think it went from just kind of bad and contemptuous yesterday to just devastating in terms of the testimony against Donald Trump that came from Robert Costello. Susan Hoffinger, the prosecutor, was incredible on cross-exam. Unlike Todd Blanche, who really wasn't effective in that cross-examination of Michael Cohen, it was more just yelling and it dragged on. Susan Hoffinger showed what a cross-exam should look like. You go in, you go out, it's kind of quick. You go through the emails, you make your points, you show the witnesses a liar, you parachute out, and that's it. It's exactly what went down. The first thing that I should mention as well, and Norm Eisen also pointed this out, who's in the courtroom, was the outfit that Robert Costello was wearing. Costello, who used to litigate in these courts in Manhattan, he was wearing a pink shirt to testify, which is just an odd sartorial choice when you're a key defense witness in a case like this. I just thought it's worth kind of painting this picture. Now, Costello tried to, as I said, kind of wiggle or worm his way into helping Trump and Giuliani silence Cohen and control Cohen right around the time Cohen's apartment was raided. This is in the 2016-2017 kind of time period where Costello kind of gets into try to help Cohen. So there's an email in 2018 from Costello to his law partner that says the following: "Our issue is to get Cohen on the right page without giving the appearance that we are following instructions from Giuliani or the president." Let me just read that again. So the prosecutor, Susan Hoffinger, shows this email to Costello where Costello says to his law partner, "Our issue is to get Cohen on the right page without giving the appearance that we are following instructions from Giuliani or the president." Right? That's basically an admission that Costello was not working for Cohen, that Costello was working for Giuliani or, and Donald Trump at that time. But one of the things that Costello had previously testified was that he did not care about Donald Trump's interest or Giuliani's interest, that he was solely focused on trying to help Michael Cohen and Michael Cohen's interests. So boom, he gets that email, and it shows what a freaking liar he is. Susan Hoffinger goes, yesterday, the prosecutor goes, "Mr. Costello, yesterday you were asked if you cared about Trump's interests when you were representing Michael Cohen. You said no. Your obligation was to Cohen. Do you recall that?" Costello said yes. Then Hoffinger starts displaying all of these emails, and then she displays another email where Costello tells his law partner, in addition to what I previously said, that it looks like Cohen is trying to slow play us and the president, at that time Donald Trump. "What should I say to this asshole?" Referring to Cohen as an a-hole. "He's playing with the most powerful man on the planet." And then Hoffinger goes to Costello, "Looks like the email speaks for itself, doesn't it?" And then Costello goes, "Yes, it does." And that's an important line because yesterday, when Costello was behaving like an a-hole and was acting very contemptuous, he would he would say things to the prosecutor, Susan Hoffinger, like, can you speak up, ma'am? Ma'am, can you speak up? I can't hear what you're saying. And when she would show him emails, he would go, I don't know. The email speaks for itself. The email speaks for itself. So she used this line that he kept on saying when he was trying to be evasive, that the email speaks for itself, showing him that he was a liar and saying, so it looks like the email speaks for itself, doesn't it? And then he had to admit, yeah, it looks like the email speaks for itself. And that's when the jury started just absolutely snickering. Here, by the way, is another email that Costello was shown during the cross-examination by the prosecution. Costello was shown his infamous friends in high places email to Michael Cohen and confirms what's been long apparent. Adam Klasfeld writes, friends in high places definitely refers to Donald Trump. Yes. So I'm going to read for you this email, but basically, let me read you the email first. It says, so it's Costello to Michael Cohen. Here's what it says. Attorney-client communication. And this is what Costello wrote to Cohen in April 2018. I spoke with Rudy. Very, very positive. You are loved. Quotations. If you want to call me, I will give you the details. I told him everything you asked me, and he said that they knew that. There was never a doubt, and they are in our corner. Rudy said that this communication channel must be maintained. He called it crucial and noted how reassured they were that they had someone like me whom Rudy has known for many years in this role. Sleep well tonight. You have friends in high places, Bob. P.S. Some very positive comments about you from the White House. Rudy noted how that followed my chat with him last night, sent from an iPad. So what Costello was trying to do is be the back channel for Trump and Giuliani to silence Michael Cohen. And he's saying to Michael Cohen there in 2018, you have nothing to worry about. You have friends in high places. Now, Costello was previously asked about what he meant by friends in high places. And what he tried to say before was that he was actually referring to a Garth Brooks song called Friends in Low Places. And that was a reference to the Garth Brooks song. Here he now, when he was under oath, admitted to friends in high places, referring to Donald Trump. Now, it's obviously devastating in the sense that it directly goes and just destroys Costello's credibility, who said that yesterday that he was not trying to help Trump, he was not trying to help Giuliani, and that his sole interests were to help Cohen. But it goes to this bigger issue in this case, and that's why would you call Costello as your as a witness if you're the defense here? And this is why it's so devastating for the defense. It ties this whole case together in such a beautiful way for the prosecution. It shows how Trump then brought in this guy Costello to try to silence and shut down Michael Cohen by creating this back channel, by weaseling his way into Michael Cohen's life to try to destroy Cohen and to try to help Donald Trump and Giuliani. It shows a guilty conscience, a guilty mind, and a further conspiracy by Donald Trump to shut Michael Cohen down. So you call Costello and all the stuff then comes in, which wouldn't have come in before, but for the fact that the defense called Costello. The prosecution couldn't have asked for anything better right here. Susan Hoffinger then confronts Costello with this email seeking anything you wanted to convey to his friend. The prosecutor asks whether it shows Costello is asking Cohen for anything he wants to convey to Trump through Giuliani. Costello only acknowledges that the friend is Giuliani. Here it is right here. This is a letter from Costello to Cohen. Michael Cohen, since you jumped off the phone rather abruptly, I did not get a chance to tell you that my friend has communicated to me that he is meeting with his client this evening, and he added that if there was anything you wanted to convey, you should tell me and my friend will bring it up for discussion this evening. I would suggest that you give this invitation some real thought. Today's newspaper story should not rattle you. The event announced today you thought would be announced Friday or Monday, so it is merely a difference of timing. MW&E were brought in to do a discrete task. They have performed those services in an exemplary fashion. This is not a change in plan. Rather, it is exactly what was planned. Your message or the message of MW&E should be positive and not negative in any way. What you do next is for you to decide, but if that choice requires any discussion with my friend's client, you have the opportunity to convey that this evening, but only if you so decide. I must tell you quite frankly that I am not used to listening to abuse like today's conversation. You have called me numerous over the last month to discuss issues, and I have always tried to be as helpful as I could. You told me back in April that I was part of the team, and I have acted accordingly on your behalf. When I suggested that we meet to discuss a strategy following this news to you. And then in a June 13, 2018 email, Costello wrote, I hope I am wrong, but it seems to both Jeff and I that perhaps we have been played here. The prosecutor then asked Costello a series of questions about his belief that he got played. Let me just also show you how CNN is describing this cross-examination. They're saying that Costello got the snot beat out of him by Prosecutor Susan Hoffinger on cross-examination. Play this clip.
I think the legal term to describe what we just saw from the prosecution in its cross of Robert Costello is, Susan Hoffinger beat the snot out of him. I mean, she really did. She dragged Robert Costello through this incredible exchange of emails. They have a lot of emails that this guy was on that talk about Rudy Giuliani, that talk about even President Trump. And again, it just muddies up the water. The defense worked so hard to make people dislike Michael Cohen, but now the prosecution is seizing on this guy that they may be able to dislike even more. This guy who was completely unnecessary, probably, to this case is now being put on trial. First, look, Michael Cohen's not on trial, but the defense tried to put him on trial. Robert Costello is certainly not on trial, but the prosecution is now successfully putting him on trial.
Well, and it seems like the jury is, we don't know, but they're laughing at Susan Hoffinger's comments where there was this point yesterday where she was asking Robert Costello about an email. She's the prosecutor asking Robert Costello about an email. And instead of really explaining, he just kept going, the email speaks for itself. The email speaks for itself. I was watching it and you could see his kind of tone of condescension. And she just asked him about an email and he was trying to explain it. And she said, well, does the email speak for itself, Mr. Costello? And he said, sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. And then she just moved on quickly. But there was a comment there that it elicited laughter from the jury inside the room. And that's not a good sign for you if you're the defense attorney.
It's not, especially with this jury. They rarely tip their cards. I think they've laughed once at a DA paralegal who said he really enjoyed sort of making spreadsheets. That's the one time they've conveyed any kind of laughter. So the fact that she got a laugh shows that maybe they have empathy for her in this task.
And then George Conway, who's been in the court for most of this trial, says this is the most effective cross-examination I have seen in this trial by far. I guess here's how Fox is trying to spin it, that Costello's behavior of rolling his eyes at the judge is normal in a courtroom. And you have Alan Dershowitz, Trump's friend and former lawyer and surrogate, going on Fox and saying that this is exactly how Costello should be behaving, or this is normal behavior. Here, play this clip.
Costello was trying to hide his contempt for the court, but the judge had such a thin skin that he threatened him. He said he would strike the testimony and hold him in contempt if he rolled his eyes again. You have a constitutional right to roll your eyes and to stare at anybody. And
then finally, folks, this yesterday, Costello was almost held in contempt for staring down the judge, saying geez throughout the proceedings, like he would make noises, and it was just very strange. And so Justice Merchan said, we need to clear the courtroom because are you trying to stare me down? And then we've got the full transcript here as well, where Costello says, look, I want to discuss proper decorum in my courtroom. I want to discuss proper decorum in my courtroom. When there is a witness on the stand, if you don't like my ruling, you don't say geez, okay? And then you don't say strike it, because I'm the only one who can strike testimony in my courtroom. Do you understand that? Costello says, I understand. Okay, then if you don't like my ruling, you don't give me a side eye. You don't roll your eyes. Do you understand? Do you understand that? The witness, Costello, I understand that. I understand what you're saying. Okay, thank you. Let's get the jury back. are you staring at me right now? And then the witness, Costello, says, no, I'm just wondering how. Then the judge says, clear the courtroom, please. Clear the courtroom. Do you want me to answer your question, says the witness? Then the sergeant in the courtroom says, sir, please. And then the court has people step outside. And then the judge says, let the record reflect that it's now 5 after 4. Let the record also reflect that the court officers had a great difficulty clearing the courtroom because the courtroom is made up primarily of the press, and I can appreciate that the press wants to be present for every part of these proceedings. Therefore, this record is not sealed. The press will have access to this record. The fact that I had to clear the courtroom and that the court officers, including the captain, had great difficulty clearing the courtroom and that there was argument back and forth between the press and including counsel for the press goes to why I had to clear the courtroom in the first place. And that is, sir, your conduct is contemptuous right now. I'm putting you on notice that your conduct is contemptuous. If you try to stare me down one more time, I will remove you from the stand. I will strike your entire testimony. Do you understand me? And then Costello's like, can I say something, please? No, this is not a conversation. No. And so that's what happened yesterday as well. And Fox is trying to justify that. Here's just one other clip from Fox trying to say that this is normal behavior. Play this clip.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, from what I can tell, I'm reading from my phone now. The judge said, I'd like to discuss proper decorum in my courtroom directly to Costello when he asked people to leave the courtroom. He said, listen to this, Neil. I don't want you to give me side eye and don't roll your eyes.
Whoa.
So, yeah, this is what I'm reading now. I can't be sure that this is what was said, but this is one of the accounts of someone who was in the courtroom. Interesting that it sounds like the judge is trying to quash the testimony. He doesn't like his animation. He doesn't like what Costello, his reaction. I mean, it's a normal reaction when you're constantly getting told objection sustained, and Costello can't get a regular train of thought out. And you know what? I agree with Mercedes Cowan. When you're in a courtroom and you're constantly objecting or you're facing constant objections, a jury looks at that. They don't like it. They say, what is happening here? Why can't we just hear the story? Let it come out. Why is the prosecution objecting so heavily to this man's testimony? The prosecution's objections can backfire on.
Well, and that's what we have right now, folks. So Costello, a devastating witness. You have the jury like laughing at him, and you couldn't have asked for a worse witness for Donald Trump to close before Trump rested. The defense rested their case. So now we go to summation, which will happen next week, and we'll keep you posted each step of the way. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.